Hey there! I was asked by a lot of people to review a Graf von Faber Castell pen. I have reviewed Faber Castell pens, but they wanted to see Graf von Faber Castell, which is, let's say, the high-end version, the high-end branch of the Faber Castell brand. And then my colleague and fountain pen reviewer Aziza of Gourmet Pens was kind enough to lend me her Graf von Faber Castell Anello. I'll try to put a link up to the review on her blog so that you can read her story about it. If I don't do that, please remind me because I forget these things. Okay, the pen. She didn't send me the box, but that's fine. I think she has pictures of it on her blog. Another reason to link to that. So today we'll just talk about the pen and how it performs. Okay, let's start at the finial of the cap. You can see that they're highly reflective and a sort of hollowed out shape. Then you have the cap, nice and shiny, and you have this cool spring-loaded clip, which I like a lot. Then on top there, it has the Graf von Faber Castell logo. Then on the center band, I'm sorry this is a bit reflective, it says Germany Graf von Faber Castell. And you get the body with these nice rings, hence Anello, and then you get a little end cap for posting, and it has little ribs around there, which is quite cool. Okay, the body is actually made of titanium and platinum, which is a very cool mix. Clearly not a cheap pen, but I think it looks quite nice. That matte metal I think looks quite cool. Then we get to the section. The pen posts very securely because of that sort of end cap thing. It is very top heavy when you do so, but you can post it if you really want to, and it's very secure. And then you have this section. The section I found very long. It's a very long section, very smooth. Then you have the nib, which is 18K. So it says, I think 750. Yeah, it's a medium 750 18K, and it has the Graf von Faber Castell logo, as well as a few lines, just lines coming down from the nib next to the breather hole. I think it's quite cool. The pen is filled with, quite simply, a converter or cartridges, and that's pretty much all there's to it. So, what do I like about the pen? What do I not like about the pen? Well, I like the longer section is pleasant for me. I hold my pens fairly highly, and often I get to feel the threads, which you will feel on this pen a bit, but even, I mean, halfway through the section, you don't really feel them. If you hold the section all the way down, where you should hold it, I suppose, it's not a problem at all. You don't feel the threads at all because of the nice long section, which is cool. I like the looks. I like the posting ability, even though I don't really use it with this pen. It's really big then, but you could. I like the fact that they thought about it. I love the clip. I have a soft spot for spring-loaded clips. Super easy to use, super nice to use, so that's very, very cool. Things I don't like about it. I like the cap, and I like these rib things, but I'm not too sure about the matte finish there, because the cap is so shiny, the end is so shiny, and you get these matte blocks there. It's interesting, but I'm not sure whether I really care for it. Now, as to the performance of the nib, it's nice to use, but I think it gives a fair amount of feedback, which is something you may or may not like. Some people like it, some people don't, but for a pen in this price class, I would have personally expected a somewhat smoother writing experience. Now, that's something to bear in mind, especially from an 18K nib. It will give you line variation, but I have seen smoother gold nibs, and so that's something to take into account. I think that gives you an update. I think we need to take some measurements. As to weight, this pen comes down to a good 40 grams. But it is all metal, so that was to be expected. It is 138 millimeters capped. Uncapped, I get 131 millimeters. Section diameter at the narrowest point is 9 millimeters. 9 millimeters, and at the widest point, I get 9.5. I think that's more than enough talk. I think we now need to see this pen in action. That's what I'm going to do next, a writing sample. I hope this was useful, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye. Okay, writing with the Graf von Faber Castell Anello. Very interesting pen. When it comes to the writing, I still think this pen has a bit of feedback to it. I've used smoother gold nibs. It's not a terrible nib or anything, it's not a terrible scratch, but you definitely get quite a bit of feedback. A bit of fast writing. One thing I will say, a bit of feedback or not, is that the ink flow is very, very consistent. This is Mont Blanc Oyster Grey, by the way, sorry, and the nib is medium. And this is a nice ink flow, very consistent. I hardly ever have had this pen skip on me, which is quite nice. When it comes to wetness, I would say it lies down a fairly wet line. And when it comes to springiness, let's gently add more pressure there. You see that you definitely get some line variation from this nib. So you can really push it a bit and then you get some really nice line variation. So that is quite cool. In all, I have to say I like this pen, even though it is a little bit of I find a little bit too much feedback to my personal liking. It has a nice weight to it, and that's quite cool. Reverse writing, nib upside down, very uncomfortable. The nib cuts into the paper and it's very dry, as you can see here. So I wouldn't recommend that. Apart from that, for normal, for normal writing, I think this gives you a very nice pen to use, and it definitely looks fascinating with the titanium and the platinum. So, I hope this was useful, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.